You've watched the video LR32 on how to do the cabinet side. Well, this is part 2, where I show you how to drill for the hinge part here at 35 millimeters with the LR32 system. So we punch the cabinet side first, and now we're going to go back and bore out the 35 millimeter cup hinge on a door. But I first want to talk about the reveal that you create on your cabinet. And yes, we've done videos, they'll be in the description. But when I measured for the door, just a little bit of a refresher, I divided by 2 what I was going to do, subtracted 8 because I want a 2 millimeter reveal here and 2 on each door. So there's 4 here and 2 here. Hopefully that makes sense. But now I get it, and divided by 2. But now for the door size overall. But I got to now do top and bottom. So I took a measurement from here to here, and it's 768 millimeters, and I subtract 4 millimeters. So I end up, and I just did it really simple, I made these cherry slab doors and edge banded them. Okay, so that will create, when I'm done, a 2 millimeter reveal also top and bottom. And I use this as my shim stock. So pay attention in this video. I'm going to cover everything soup to nuts on drilling out that cup hinge. When I build frameless cabinets, I like to do full overlay. That way I can control my reveals a little bit better across a bank of cabinets. So a little bit of repeat here. There's 2 parts of a hinge when you're purchasing hinges in every brand. There's the hinge that's got a 35 millimeter cup. Okay, and then you have a hinge plate. So if you remember, when I bored out this cabinet side here, and this is what we'll be using, once again at 768 millimeters, it's a balanced panel. The hinge plate, I choose these plates. Okay, if we come in here and look, these holes match up perfectly, and I use a coarse thread, basically short Euro screw. So when you're looking at cabinet hardware brands, there's a bunch of them. I prefer Sedgeley. I switched over last year. I really like them. And the reason I'm telling you that is I didn't have to switch much. They all have basically the same measurements. Of course, the hinge plate is 32, spacing apart from my Euro screws. And this is my door side. You'll notice I have my 2 millimeter reveal that I cut this at, including the edge banding, top and bottom. And when we look at the hinge, this is where my hinge plate is going to go, right here. Okay, so, or my hinge. So if I take it away, it's going to be exactly in the center of that 32 millimeter. Okay, so here's the first tip before we start boring that 35 millimeter cup. I did these just slab doors, but you may have created some really nice cope stick doors or shaker flat panel doors, and you're trying to match grain. Here is where I have fumbled before. So I'm going to pretend I have these matched, okay? I know my hinges are going to go on this side, so what I do is I pull this back, and this is just rough. I'll go like this because I know that's my hinge side, and I'll pull this one and draw it like this. So now I know what side of the door I'm going to bore my hinge. In part 1 of this series, I showed you how to take the OF 1400 and mount it to the plate with a century mandrel. Now we're going to utilize this bit. This is the 35 millimeter hinge cup bit. So where to place this on the door? So we got everything set up, kinda. We got to do our parallel stops with the LR32 and our end stops. But let's stop for a second and talk about the hinge itself. Okay, so doing this over the years, there is a common denominator. I call it the tab. This is 35 millimeter, okay? I have the 35 millimeter bit in here, but I always say this, don't believe me. Go to the manufacturer's website and look at their schematics. I've choose one to work with I don't mix and match because I know their measurements and I don't have to think about them constantly. But there's a common denominator over every manufacturer that I've used over the years. On that tab, it's 5 millimeters. What the tab is the distance from this part or the edge of the cup to the edge of the door where you're going to place it. And that is usually, majority of the time, 5 millimeters. To set up our parallel stops, we know we have a 5 millimeter tab. Always, there's plenty of adjustability in the hinge and also the hinge plate. So we want to get our measurements as close as possible. So let's calculate this formula that I use. 5 millimeter, okay, to get into the center of 35 is what? 17 and a half. So I'll write that here, 17 and a half plus the 5 millimeter tab is what? If I remember right, that's 22 and a half. So I default on 23 millimeters, and that is what I set my parallel stops at. We now have our rail parallel to the edge that we're gonna put our hinges in. And now we're gonna find out how to get that aligned from the top and bottom of our door. And remember, I'll say this a couple more times, this is cut 4 millimeters shy of the overall height of the cabinet. That way there we get a 2 millimeter reveal top and bottom. And I'll show you how to compensate for that. So if we remember, I need to put that cup hinge right in the center of the hinge plate on the side of the cabinet. So remember in the video we did, part 1, for the side of the cabinet I used with the end stops 16 up and out. On this one, I'm gonna set it at 32 up and out. And don't forget, the 32 is up facing me and out toward the end of the rail. And I'm gonna take that and put it right here. And you'll see that's in the middle of the hole, exact center. So I'm gonna count 3 holes from there. 1, 2, 3. That 1 point there will be exactly in the center of that hinge plate. Haha, 1 more point. Let's talk about that 2 millimeter. I'm going to use a shim stock here and place it between the stop and the end of the door before I clamp it. That will ensure that I have my 2 millimeter reveal. So here's the beauty of the LR32 system. I'm gonna clamp this in and take out that 2 millimeter stock to ensure I leave that 2 millimeter in there. And if I come down here, I installed the other end stop at 32 up and out. And if this is accurate, and it is, it's an exact 2 millimeter reveal down there. So that way there, I can punch and mark my rail 1, 2, 3. And that's where I punch both hinges simultaneously without moving the rail whatsoever. Another tip is when I'm locking this clamp underneath, I'm always checking to see if I have any daylight between these 6 millimeter pins, because if I'm locking it, sometimes it wants to tweak a little and it shifts the cup hinge off or the bore. So just a verification, and that's all. There's another unit of measurement we got to talk about. It's called the depth of the cup hinge, how much leeway we're going to put in there. So the schematic that we'll show, Chris will have it on the video, shows the depth is 12 millimeter. I've always defaulted on 13. So as I set depth on everything, first I want to start with 0. When I mean starting with 0, I take the router and I plunge the bit so it's at ground 0. Now I have to create extra depth from there. So what I do is I like to use gauge blocks. I'm just going to take that, release the depth stop rod, and then I'm going to take this is my gauge block for hinges. It's an 8 and a 5 domino. I've used this for years. I just take it in, put it in between the depth stop rod and the bottom turret. So when I tighten the rod, take this out, now, and we get in here, Chris, you'll see that that bit is at 0, and I've created 13 millimeters of space. So when I start, I just release the plunge. So when I start to plunge, I will bore at exactly 13 millimeters of depth. So we have the 35 millimeter bit in there, and that's a larger diameter bit. That's why you have variable speed on a router, or any router. So hear me out on this. At the very point, it's spinning usually a router between 22,000, 24,000 RPM. But if it's a larger bit on the outside tip speed, it's spinning a lot faster. So slow down the router, the larger the diameter of the bit. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'll just give you where I set this one, this 35 millimeter. I set it about 3, and I'll get less burning that way. Now let's go on to dust extraction. So if we look at the dust collection connection on the 1400, I'm going to measure the inside diameter. Oh my goodness gracious. It's barely 35. So what I like to do is, I don't want to break this. I take this window that's on there, and what I'll do is I'll take it and I'll remove it. So you just remove this little piece from here, this little window. You can set it aside, but let me show you really quick how to put it back on. So you're going to see this little recess here. What I like to do is there's a little tab that I place it in there, and then I rotate it, and it'll snap right back in. So now you have it set right back up. So one more tip for you. That window that I removed, there's still like a channel here where dust can fly out. To maximize the dust extraction on there, I just take a little piece of blue tape and just create a little blocker there. So I just did a quick verification, overlook of what I'm doing. I got my hand on the plate, on the knob, and now I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to punch both holes. And also, remember, my hand doesn't come off that plate knob until the motor is fully wound down. I have this set up now. I can do door after door after door with just one setup. All right, so let's look what happened. We bored both holes, 3 in from each one, from each side. And you remember that layout line I did with 5 millimeters? Look at that outside. It's right on those lines perfectly. I love it when the system works perfect. And if we come over, I'll just show you how that hinge just drops right in there. And we just take a couple of screws and put it in there. Just a quick verification before we move on. I've snapped the hinge into the plate. And we're going to come in, and you're going to see how that lines up perfectly with the hinge plate, and I have my 2 millimeter reveal here. So there you go. That's the basics of setting up the LR32 system for boring cup hinges. Stay tuned for another video with advanced techniques on the LR32 system, because there's been a lot of questions over the release of the first one, and now I know there'll be some questions on the second one, and we'll handle that in the 3rd installment. So as we always say from the SedgeTool shop, make sure you subscribe. Oh, and be positive, stay sharp, and we mean wicked sharp.